Hello and welcome to Topical Top 10s here on the Football 365 show. I'm your host Mark Smith. I'm here with Deputy Editor of Football365.com, Matt Stead. Matt, what's our top 10 this week, please?
Hello Mark. Our top 10 this week is the top 10 summer signings that currently look a bit pointless.
Top 10 pointless summer signings. Okay, well I've seen the list and just to pre-warn you, I don't agree with a lot of it, so we'll see what happens. If you like the show, don't forget to like and subscribe and press the notification bell so you never miss a show going forward. This is Topical Top 10s brought to you by Football Index. Right, at number 10 then, Matt Stead, we've gone Joe Hart. Why?
Because Tottenham have signed Burnley's second choice goalkeeper to be their second choice goalkeeper, which to me seems a bit strange when you've already got Paulo Gazzaniga there. Obviously, no one's going to really challenge Hugo Lloris. He's back to close to his best, the West Ham result notwithstanding. But yeah, Hart's not played a single Premier League game since Boxing Day 2018. So in terms of on pitch, he's not going to make a single impact there. And he probably wasn't designed to make an impact on the pitch. It was probably more
exactly.
He's going to be the player who fronts up when they mess up, and the player who kind of raises the standards, I suppose, of Lloris. But I mean, I'll go back to the original point. Tottenham have signed a second choice goalkeeper from Burnley to be their second choice. To me, that doesn't make any sense.
Okay, but English quota as well, don't forget that. Right, number 9, we've got Joel Veltman.
We do, yeah. He's made a single appearance for Brighton so far this season. He came on at half-time against Everton when Brighton were drawing 1-1 at Goodison Park. They ended up losing 4-2.
This is where we disagree straight away. We are so early in the season to be starting writing off players after, 4 games, 5 games. You are an insane person. How can you write him off straight away? He's come from a great club with a great pedigree. He's a good player, and it's a long season. Explain yourself.
He's terrible. No, it is. I'll be honest. A few of these are stretches, and I think Veltman's probably one of them because he's a very good player. He's an experienced player, and he wasn't signed for a lot of money. So if you're kind of looking at it and thinking he's a few million quid, it wasn't that case, and he only had a couple of years left on his contract, I think, and he probably was designed to be a squad player. But I think, to be fair, with Brighton, the best part of their squad is the defence, and I don't think he's going to get many games there. Yeah,
I agree. I actually really like Brighton. I'm surprised at how they've results-wise struggled, but I think they'll come good. Number 8, we've got Salisu.
We do, Salisu. It's we tend to do this list annually, and there's always at least one name that within a week or a couple of weeks makes us look incredibly stupid. And I think it was
at least
3. Yeah, it was 3 years ago that it was Andy Robertson who was on there. A year after that, we had Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. So it's usually Liverpool who kind of trip us up because obviously Klopp kind of tends to blood his players in a little bit slower, and it looks like Hasenhüttl is going to do the same thing with Salisu. He has come out recently and said that he will be in the team in a couple of weeks, but we need 10 players for this list, I'm afraid, so he has to get in.
Okay, fair enough. Number 7, we've got Leicester's Under.
Yeah, it's a strange one. He's only played one game so far. He played in the West Ham defeat, which, I mean, he was never going to really make much of an impact there. That was a bizarre game in terms of Leicester. He's not played since, and they've just played Aston Villa last night, and Rodgers brought on Islam Slimani when they were kind of... It was still 0-0. They were chasing a goal. They were trying to get a result out of it. And that was Slimani's first game ever under Rodgers. And when you're looking at the bench as well, you've got Under there. He's obviously a good player. He's impressed at Serie A. I think he's had a few injury issues. But when you're bringing on Islam Slimani instead of him, I think that there seems to be some sort of issue there.
Well, to be fair, I think Slimani looks like he's going to get another chance under Rodgers, doesn't it? And if you are looking for game changers off the bench, he's a different option to what you've got. Even when Vardy's fit, he's a big, immobile unit, but he can offer you something else. And maybe Under, as the season goes on, we'll find that there is maybe somewhere in that squad for him to play. Number 6, we've got Wolves. I think record signing. I might be wrong on that. Fabio Silva.
No, he is the record signing. It's a strange one because Porto's president's just come out last week and basically said that Wolves paid about 4 times as much as they needed to sign him. Which is very Jorge Mendes. He's got his fingerprints all over.
Let's start looking at the agents. Yeah, that doesn't sound right to me at all.
So he's only, I think he's played a couple of games for Wolves so far, both substitute appearances. And to be fair, he's a teenager. He's not going to get into that into that Wolves side as it is. You're trying to get past Jimenez, you're trying to get past all sorts of players that Nuno's been working with for a couple of years now. He's not going to...
Yeah.
He's very much... We're sat here kind of writing off an 18-year-old based on 4 weeks.
Sorry, no, we're not. Season. We're not.
Yeah, Mark's basically writing him off. I think this
is a good signing, Matt, because I think that there was a lot of interest in him, and whatever the president has said about his value there, I think he's so young, and there was so much interest in him that even if he doesn't really play many games, I would imagine they can still turn a profit on him. However, I think they are going to try and blood him this season. You're right about Jimenez, no one's displacing him at that club, but there's always a chance he gets a few games, and if he gets a few games, he'll get a few goals, and a few goals, he'll increase his value. Right, let's move on to another player who might be the victim of agents at play again as well here. Nottingham Forest have signed Anthony Knockaert, but it was Brighton who made his deal permanent, wasn't it?
Fulham made his deal permanent, yeah.
Sorry, Fulham, yes.
From Brighton, to be fair. But it was kind of... I think he had a clause in his loan deal at Fulham where if you played 30 games in the Championship, then you've got to sign him permanently. But he was Fulham's biggest signing of the summer at £10 million. Didn't make a single Premier League matchday squad, was loaned out to Forest, who have basically tried to activate their Championship cheat code by appointing Chris Hughton as well, bringing Knockaert in, which it should be unfair, really. That should be punished, I think. But yeah, it just... as I say, I know there's a clause in his contract to make it permanent, but even I think he registered a single assist and didn't score a goal in his last 14 Championship appearances for Fulham last season. So even though they were playing him regularly, he didn't make an impact. So they didn't really have to kind of activate that clause at all.
It's a strange one though, isn't it? Because Knockaert seems like he's a talented footballer. He can make things happen. And I think it is maybe a bit reductive just to talk about, as we always do at the minute, particularly me, assists and goals as being the only currency in football. Because he does provide a lot more than that. The whole deal between Fulham and Brighton seemed odd, but the one to Forest seems completely bizarre. Let's move on to number 4, because this is one I certainly will be contesting with you. You've gone for Donny van der Beek.
Donny van der Beek, yeah, I think we've discussed him before, and he's not, in terms of how he is as a player, he's not a pointless signing, because he's got plenty of experience, he's still young.
Why is he on the list then?
Because they're not using him. Because he's not started a single game, despite the fact that he's probably the only Manchester United player in that squad who had a proper pre-season. The rest of them are playing in the Europa League, obviously. He's got all this Champions League experience. He's played in the Europa League final. He's won league titles for Ajax. He's an international, but he's just not starting. And even though Pogba's struggling for form, Fernandes, until recently, he's not been playing at the top of his game. Van der Beek's just been on the bench. He's brought him on every single game, Solskjaer, but if he's not starting at the minute when United are struggling, then I don't see when he does start.
Yeah, the Newcastle game was quite an eye-opener, wasn't it? Because Pogba didn't start in that game, and it seemed like, well, obviously this is the time for Van der Beek, and yet they went with McTominay and Fred. I understand that Solskjaer's worried about getting thumped again after the Spurs game, so he wants to shore it up a bit. But you're right, Van der Beek has got to... He will get minutes, though. He'll get minutes. I'm sure it will happen. I think he's a good signing. I think he shouldn't be on this list, but I sort of do understand that one. Number 3, we've got Branislav Ivanovic, my old friend.
We do. We have the lovely Branislav Ivanovic, and I think it's only pointless, really, because the entire concept of West Brom signing a defender is pointless, because it's not going to improve that position at all. They've got
everyone in the league at the minute, though.
Well, yeah, true, but they've got a manager there who's not going to improve that defence. He's never been kind of famed for his defensive prowess, Bilic, as a manager, which is strange considering his playing career.
Yeah.
But for West Brom, I don't think a 30-something Ivanovic is going to solve any of their defensive issues.
No, but is this not similar to the Joe Hart thing, Matt? I mean, Ivanovic has won everything you can win at club level. Is it not just a case of get someone into that dressing room who knows how the Premier League works, who can rally the troops, who can, after a defeat, get them together and get them playing again? I think there's a lot to be said for players like that in a team where you are going to be up against it for most of the season. Yeah,
there could be something in that. Obviously, he's got the experience. You do need a mix of experience and youth, which I think West Brom are definitely favouring the latter. They've got a very good attacking lineup with Diangana and Pereira there. You do need some older players, some older heads who are going to know what to do. But even then, it's Branislav Ivanovic, and I know.
Exactly, it's Branislav Ivanovic, so he's a good player and a good signing, I agree. Number 2, Ethan Ampadu. Ethan Ampadu at number 2.
Yeah, Ampadu, he's only started one game for Sheffield United so far this season. I think Chelsea kind of loaned him out to a Premier League club, hoping he'd get a bit more game time, hoping he'd get more opportunities. And then you thought with Jack O'Connell being ruled out with injury, that would be his chance at Sheffield United. You'd think he's going to slot into that kind of left side of the centre-half position in a back three. He's a good ball player. He can easily do the overlapping that Chris Wilder obviously loves from his centre-halves. But he's not got the opportunities. I think he came on in one game, and then, as I say, started against Leeds, and he was okay against Leeds. But then Sheffield United have kind of fallen back on starting Jack Robinson, and they gave Max Lowe a chance yesterday.
He came off injured quite early.
Yeah, and Ampadu's just not seemed to be able to get a chance there.
No, he's a player who I really rate, actually, and I think he will do well. He's been really good for Wales as well. I think he's got a great career ahead of him, and I think Wilder is the right guy for him. So, again, maybe it's one of those where it's just too early to call. I hope he does well. I like him. I like Sheffield United, so let's wait and see. Right, at number 1, though, Matt, number 1 of our pointless signings top 10, we've got Cedric. We
have to go for Mr. Soares here, who is he's quite comfortably the number
Soares,
1.
People, different ways of saying it.
Let's just stick with Cedric, shall we?
That's why I said Cedric, to dig you out of a hole, really.
Yeah, he's very much kind of, he's the most clear number 1 we've had in a while on our top 10 list. He came in January from Southampton on a kind of loan deal, which even at the time looked a bit silly, but he played a couple of games here and there. And then Arsenal made him permanent at a similar time that they extended David Luiz's contract and signed Pablo Mari. So there were a few kind of question marks over what they were doing. They hadn't really done much transfer business at that stage. Obviously, they brought in Partey later on. Yeah. But with Cedric, I think when they made his deal permanent, and it was a 4-year contract for a player who's hardly young at this stage, but when they brought him in, I think it was because they expected Maitland-Niles to be leaving, and as it happened, he's kind of established himself as a proper first-team option.
He's not sellable now, is he? You can't sell that guy now. Why would you? The fans would go mad, and rightly so.
Yeah, so Cedric is he's stayed there. He's probably third choice right back now. You could probably use him on the left if you've got about 400 injuries or something, but he's playing in the under-23s team now. He's not made a single matchday squad in the Premier League. I don't think he's going to unless they get suspensions and injuries. And again, you need players like that to kind of fill in the squad, but in terms of right now, it don't make any sense.
Finally, you've picked someone that I agree with, and it took me to the last person to agree with.
1 out of 10, yeah. That's
1 out of 10 is pretty good. Right, that's all we've got time for this week. Thank you at home for watching. Thank you, Matt Stead, for joining me today. This has been Topical Top 10s on the Football 365 show. If you want to get in touch with the show, you can email us. It's the editor at football365.com. Until next week, goodbye.